All right. I want to welcome Charles Barron. He's here with me today. We're going to do a quick little interview talking about the Commodity Classic coming up, some of the things that are going on. And with that, I'm going to introduce you to Charles Barron. Is it Barron or Baron? How do I say that?
It's Baron. Yeah, B-A-R-O-N. Just like the Red Baron pizza. But I always have to tell people it's just one R. So.
All right. Well, for those of people that don't know him, Charles is one of the founders of Farmers Business Network. FBN is like people like to say. And I actually met Charles for the first time at Omaha this year. Really enjoyed visiting with him. Super cool dude. Just somebody that's I could sit there for an hour and just pick your brain. I mean, I like the way you think, and I like what you do. And one of the things the thing that brought me to your FBN, just the business in general, was when you guys decided to do seed relabeling.
Uh-huh.
That was kind of the moment when I was like, okay, this farmer's business, because you guys have been around for a couple of years and I'd heard of you, you're in the ag sphere space. But whenever I was able to see your company say, we're going to take the data behind all these seed tags and do something with it that's never been done before, I was like, I'm in. That was a moment. That was my moment that I'm like, I'm on this team. I want to hear about it. And I kind of want to hear about, where did you and your other co-founder, just kind of give me a rundown of how you got to be where you're at today, or how this whole thing came about. I'm curious. I think other guys are too.
Well, yeah, thanks, Jared, for asking. I mean, it's funny because the way I originally met you on Twitter was a couple years ago. You had put this idea out there for, hey, could we just get everybody to, put information together so we can see what kind of seeds are working and which ones we should be planting and just have it be completely independent. And I was like, you weren't following me yet. So I was like really trying to get you to say, hey, we've got it. We built it. Like, hey, sure, we built it. And I remember it took a couple years for you to finally follow me. But anyway, I wasn't as quick. Yeah, I mean, look, FBN has been around about 3 years or so, and where it came from, I mean, obviously, Amol and I, helped launch the company, but there are a lot of people involved in the creation of FBN, including a lot of farmers, and where it came from was guys who were wanting to share data with each other, growers who were wanting to do that to select seed, and they were trying to figure out, okay, I'll look at your maps, we'll look at, our yield maps, and you're planting DeKalb seed and I'm planting DeKalb seed. We've got the same soil, so let's try and compare. But they weren't able to actually put the data together technically. And from there, the idea kind of, blossomed into many things. And what we found is we're working with those growers and kept digging in. It wasn't just the challenge of working with the data, but it was the whole reason why they couldn't access independent data and they couldn't get, fair information in the market. And they couldn't see what prices were. They felt generally challenged as to knowing which seeds to plant. And the deeper we kind of dug, the more fundamental the problems really, seemed to be with the way the industry had structured itself and the way then that had led to these massive information challenges between a grower and between when they go to buy a product. So that was the origin of FBN. And from those handful of growers, it just spread like wildfire. We have a meeting. Those guys invited a couple friends. Their friends invited a couple friends. And by the first time we ever did a meeting, we had about 16 farms. The first time we ever put a group of farms data together. And then we're able to start showing guys how they were comparing and what seeds were working. And from there, everyone just kept telling their friends about it. And, pretty soon now we got up to, we're around 6,000 farms around the US and Canada. So at the heart of it is, how do you put growers together in a way online with information to do better business and to create a better farm economy for farmers? That's the whole root of FBN. And then seed labeling is an awesome example of there was a problem that last year at Commodity Classic, I must have had 20 conversations with farmers who were coming up to us, members saying, hey, you guys really need to look into this. Here's what's going on in terms of, the seeds are coming out from different companies. But they're the same genetics. Maybe there's a treatment difference, but it's the same genetics, and we have no way of knowing. And so after hearing about it, we just decided to do it. It's like, fine, we'll take a look. We'll see what happens when we ask our members how big a problem this is. I mean, you get the polls. We do a lot of polling, and we're really interactive. And just from there, that project took a whole life of its own. And we've processed, I think, about 9,500 seed tags that have gotten sent in and cross-matched up all the genetics, and then can now show every seed and how they relate to each other, and then look at all the companies and how they relate to each other. That's just a small example of the types of things you can do when growers start working together with data.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I noticed is, the name says Farmers Business Network, but it's truly a network where guys are talking to each other, and then at the meetings you can see that, and it's just really neat how all that comes together, and you see that knowledge base expanding.
Yeah, that's and I think it's hard to just be purely online. I mean, obviously you can look at data, but there's a story behind that data, and there's a story behind what guys are doing in field. And so we really want to make sure that takes place in person too. And so, there's a lot of events or activities where we try and get everyone together. We try and organize our groups, and in each town that we're in. I think last year we had about 120 small meetings all across the country where our members kind of got together in local clusters and did this kind of information show. And that's at the heart of it. Yeah, it's both data, and it's having hard data and anonymous data that kind of gets rid of the coffee top gossip, the coffee shop gossip, and you have the data to back it up. But then you got guys talking to each other and digging in another level and saying, okay, well, what are you doing that's really working? And that's the magic.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't want to get people in this too long. I want them to come by and see you at the Commodity Classic, because one thing that I picked up, whenever the first time I met you, I was like, this guy's really easy to talk to, and everybody from FBN that I ran into. But it's pretty unique whenever the founder of a company is there and will actually sit down, answer any questions. It isn't somebody else. You're there, you're the guy, and that's pretty unique in this day and age.
Well, I think one of the best compliments we got at a Farmer to Farmer in Omaha was somebody said, well, I like FBN, but where are all the adults?
Yes.
This is a technology and something that is, the most rewarding thing in the world is to get to see how it's being used and to get to see what it's been able to do. And it's also incredibly important for us from a product development standpoint. When everyone's coming up and telling us their stories, how they're using it, how much money they're making or saving, we've got our product managers there at Commodity Classic this year, Danny and Jordan. We've got engineers. We've got folks who are deeply, deeply involved in developing the technologies, and we're able to react really quickly to the feedback that we get. And it's really, really important. So yeah, I try and, there was a time when I felt like I knew most of the members in FBN. It's gotten pretty big, and so it's hard for me to know everyone personally, but we want to make sure that that's possible, and that we do get a chance to meet everybody, because we don't want to be a website that is just just a website. There's real stories behind all of the members and everyone's farm, and what people are dealing with, and knowing that is how we can build useful products and do good things. So yeah, it's really fun for me. It's really great.
Yeah, well, I will be out there. As things go, I should be at the Classic, and I think Stephen Ellis, and then your whole FBN crew, and we are all looking forward to it. So I would encourage everybody to take the time to stop by and learn a little bit more. Yeah,
definitely. And also if there's, we're an open book. Anyone's got any questions about FBN? We're not shy about it. So just come on up. You can ask us anything. I will tell you anything. Again, it's a great way to, if you've got things you want us to do, problems you want us to look at. I mean, seed relabeling, that project literally came out of Commodity Classic last year. Within 3 weeks, we could start the project. Within 4 months, it turned into a product that we were able to build and do all the research to do it. And I'd love to figure out what's next. So we've got some things in the works, but there's always more we can do. So, yeah, come with the, what would you do if you had 6,000 guys talking to each other? What questions would you ask? That's the way to think about FBN can do.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing. Whenever you have a nucleus of knowledge like that, it's nobody really can predict where it's going. But you know that whenever it's all based on everybody's independence, it's going somewhere good.
That's what it's all about. And I think just giving people the resources and, hey, we're going to do things that don't make us the most popular sometimes in the industry. We take a lot of flack from various parties, but we're going to be pretty dogmatic about representing guys and our members and answering the questions they want to get answered, and pushing price transparency out there, which has been really helpful for people. We've been able to push prices down all across the industry by doing that, whether or not someone is an FBN member on the input side. So we don't back off on those kind of things, and we'll look at the tough issues. That's what farmers need. So that's what we're here to do. So yeah, come. Anyone's out there at Commodity Classic, come stop by, because our whole team's there. Mo will be there. I'll be there, and our product team. A lot of great folks. A lot of our folks from around the country are all coming in. So we hope to have a chance to talk to them.
Yeah, and on the important note about your booth, I believe that there's going to be a happy hour a couple of nights, and I think that's going to be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. I got some joke from somebody from Canada said, "Oh, I've heard of FBN. You guys have all the beer, right?"
Exactly.
Wow, we're getting out there in Canada. Great. So we have to do some more. So yeah, come on out. There's happy hours. There's a couple. Come by anytime. There's gonna be fun stuff.
That's true.
And we can crack a beer open and talk about seeds.
All right, sounds good. We will see you out there.
All right, see you, Jared. Good to be with you.